Welcome to the Author to Authority podcast. And today I am so thrilled to have a fellow publisher here with me. And we're going to be talking about marketing your books to build your business. So if you think that all you've got to do is write a book and it's like the Field of Dreams, that old movie, I can't even believe I'm saying it's old now. Okay. It just seems like yesterday. And business is going to come flooding in. That is not the truth. But if you want to hear the truth about how to use a book to build your business, then stay tuned to today's episode. I want to welcome Henry Devries. He's a business development columnist, host of the agency Rainmaker TV, and the CEO of Indie Books International, a company he co-founded in 2014 to work with small to mid-sized agency owners and marketing consultants who want to attract high-paying clients by marketing with a book and a speech. In his writing and speaking, he shares in humorous ways many pragmatic the tongue not working today, strategies that can double sales and achieve marketing returns of 400 to 2,000%. Welcome to the show, Henry.
Kim, it is so great to be here. My motto is a book is the number one marketing tool if it's a book you're proud of. Speaking about the book is the number one sales strategy.
I'm just laughing because I've had quite a few guests on the show who actually didn't want to talk about their first book that they did because it wasn't all that good. The second one got better, but the first one was just kind of not great.
Yeah, I have another motto, Kim. The world does not need another crappy business book.
True.
We have our lifetime supply of crappy business books out there. So it needs to be a book that you're proud of, that you're proud to show to people, that you can give love. Because if you don't love your book, how are you going to get anyone else to love your book?
Well, you're speaking truth there, Henry. You know, it's funny because in today's world of AI and all this, I talk to so many people and they're like, well, I'll just get AI to help me write a book. And I'm like, seriously, you want a book to build your business and you're going to have AI write it and you're wondering why nobody wants to read it?
Things that make you say, So if you use AI to write your book, you're writing an echo chamber. AI is just echoing other thoughts out there. And that doesn't cut it. That is not good enough. You have to be an expert. You have to make people go, oh, wow, that's an aha moment for me. I never thought of it that way. That reminds me of those old TV shows like the Brady Bunch. The kids' dad would give them some advice and they go, thanks, Dad. I never thought of it that way. Now, being a parent, that doesn't happen. But being an author, it does happen. You said truth. I was speaking down in Savannah, Georgia, to a group of authors, and during the middle of my talk, one person yelled, "Preach!" I'd never been heckled before, but somebody said, "That's a good heckle down here in the South. That means keep going, talk. We like what
preach it, brother.
Digging what you're putting down."
I think it's as publishers, we see how the pendulum swings from one end to the other. There was a time when as entrepreneurs, you really couldn't get your book published. Like the chance of you getting a book out there was practically nil. And now it has swung so far the other way where, every person thinks that they can just author something, slap it together, throw a cover on it and use it to build a business. And, I think we've got to come to the middle ground where if you're using a book to build a business, if you're a consultant, a professional speaker, coach, high-level entrepreneur, you want to be seen as that authority in your niche or niche. It depends which country you're from. I say it both ways. But
niche
to do
in the
that,
US, niche in Canada. There's riches in the niches, beaches up in Canada. So.
Well, I'm Canadian, but I work with so many Americans, I get it mixed up from time to time.
I worked for 7 years in Toronto,
Nice.
So sorry about that. I've got to go to the washroom. So I speak Canadian. Just have a seat on the Davenport. For you Americans, we'll translate later.
Yeah, I grew up in Toronto. So, that's my hometown. And
were you born in York Hospital?
Place. Pardon me?
Were you born in York Hospital?
No, I was not. I was born in Mount Sinai Hospital.
Oh,
so
okay.
There you go, the old one.
The old one. There you go.
But
listeners
Henry,
really care about this Canadian content we're putting down. Let's get back to promoting your business with books.
I like how you think, Henry. Something I was thinking about is people don't understand that it's not the book that brings in the business. It's how you market the book that brings in the business. So I'd love for you to share for a few minutes, just, your thoughts on, how do you market this book? Because it's taken everything out of you most times just to get this book written and published. And then you think, okay, everything's good. And it's not. It's only just the beginning. It's like giving birth. You think the hard part's done. Yeah, then you deal with the newborn.
Yes. And wait till it becomes a teenager. So the dirty little secret is books don't promote authors. Authors promote books. And in the promotion of the book, it's the reflection that comes back on your work. And that's how we talk about people get ROI of 4 to 20x, 400 to 2000% as a result of getting people to love their book. And you get people to love your book by talking about your book. So we say publishing the book is the starting line, not the finish line. And it's a starting line for a marathon. And it's like the Aesop fable of the tortoise and the hare. It's the tortoise, the turtle, slow and steady wins the race. So every month, I want people to be doing 2 what I call showcases. So this podcast, thank you very much, is a showcase. I sponsor my own. My TV show is a showcase. So every month you should be doing a minimum of 2. You also should be sending a minimum of 20 books out a month. And I have a story about an author. She goes, well, who am I going to send them to? I said, well, your business is about growing dental businesses. She goes, yeah. I said, so send them to people who book speakers to talk to dentists, or dentists who might like to hire a marketing consultant. I'll run out of people to send the book to in a week. I said, no, you won't. There's a million of them, and they're multiplying like rabbits. Just, 20 a month, 1 a business day, 1 a day, like a vitamin. Send that book out there. And like you said, we're not going to be discovered. We're not some Hollywood starlet who gets off the bus from Nowheresville, walks into a drugstore in Hollywood, and a producer goes, oh my gosh, that's the face we've been looking for. Let's get you down to MGM and sign a contract. Doesn't work that way. Just because we have a website, just because we have a book, doesn't mean the world will beat the path to the door. We have to be hustlers. We have to be promoters of our work. And so that's why I say the minimum requirement, 2 showcases and 20 books a month.
There's a story that I share, and I talk about momentum a lot. How do you get momentum with your book? And, you got to think of momentum like a person. It's like that CEO. Well, consistency is the gatekeeper. And let me tell you, she's very picky about who she lets through that door to meet momentum. And if you want to get momentum and have momentum promote you, consistency better be your best friend, and you better prove yourself to her, and she's going to take a while before she will even consider introducing you to momentum. So that's how I equate it. You've got to have that consistency, and it's that day in, day out, doing that same boring thing. I mean, because let me tell you, there's nothing that is more boring to me than having to ship things. I really hate having to ship things out. Now, that being said, I do it. I don't enjoy it, but I do it. Why? Because of the results that it produces. And I think it's the same thing. You talked about, being on 2 showcases each week. And, podcasting, especially as an author, is a very easy way to be able to get yourself out there and get your book out there, because there's always want to interview you when you're an author. Now, there's no guarantee, but it's that extra little checkbox that kind of puts you above other people that they may consider interviewing. And by the way, audience, if you are looking to guest on podcasts, one of the great places that you can find hosts that will interview you is on Podmatch. And I will make sure that I will put a link to Podmatch in the show notes. That's actually where Henry and I met through his assistant. And it is a wonderful place where you can go. There's lots of hosts on there that you can approach. Do up a good profile. Don't just slap something together. Think it through. Have samples. Carefully put your profile together. But you will end up on podcasts. And to me, Podmatch is one of the best places to go. So anyway, that's my little hint and tip. Henry, I can tell you got things to say.
I like your tip a lot. A lot of my relatives would say that Podmatch is a yenta. It's a matchmaker. It's like Dolly Levi and Hello Dolly. So they're putting the people together, and it's a wonderful service. And it's not very much money. It's crazy affordable to do it. And we recommend it to all our authors because how are you going to do the, if I said 2 a month, how are you going to do 2 a month? Well, you can network through LinkedIn. You can network through your contacts. We encourage our authors. We call our 150 authors the family, and we encourage the family to cross promote each other. Unlike comedian Lily Tomlin, who said, "We're all in this alone," we think we can be all in this together. And relationships are what really matters in getting booked and getting known.
And something that I thought of while you were talking was, let's say for some reason you couldn't get on like a podcast or some sort of showcase. The minimum, okay, if you're in the B2B space or business space, LinkedIn. So whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whichever one is your, where your target market is, in the minimum, do a live, share your knowledge, talk about the book, but do something.
Yeah. So 2 of the basic things there are no cost. I do a weekly LinkedIn newsletter, not a LinkedIn post. That's nice. I do lots of LinkedIn posts or even sometimes articles on LinkedIn, but the LinkedIn newsletter it is something that's been magical for me. In the course of a year, I went from 0 to over 2,000 subscribers, and I didn't do any subscription campaigns or anything like that. I just wrote every week and encouraged people to share and went out there and got subscribers. So I really recommend it. And if LinkedIn is your social media of choice, your drug of choice, because that's where your people are, it's the world's greatest B2B database. And you can enter for free, or I go up one level and one level of pay. So it's, again, crazy cheap to do it. The other thing is that's also crazy cheap is starting, and I say instead of a podcast, no offense, Kim, start a TV show. It's got a lot more zing to it to say, would you like to be a guest on my TV show? People say, would I? And we do the TV show as a YouTube channel show. And then we put it on Spotify and we put it on iTunes. So it is a podcast also, just the audio portion. And that's all free to do. Now, I have a nice camera. I spent probably $800 for a Canon EO5, and I've got a $105 ring light and a $100 Yeti microphone. That's all I need to set up my TV studio. And so the entry fee is not great. When I'm on the road, because I travel so much, I have a portable $39.99 ring light, and I have a I'm forgetting the brand name, but they're all over, to put on my laptop when I travel for a little better video quality and sound quality. So if you're on the road a lot like me, you can still do your TV shows and your meetings. So I recommend it. So those are things that no cost to do. You can promote your TV show on LinkedIn, but let everybody in on a little secret. The purpose of the TV show is the guest, because you're a thought follower. Follow people in your industry. I interview agency owners all the time. Why? Because I write books for agency owners, either to promote their business or their clients. So then they're going to share it on their social media. And there's all these strangers who've never heard of Henry Devries before, or his book, Marketing with a Book for Agency Owners. But they hear about it when that person says, oh, I was happy to be a guest on the Agency Rainmaker TV show. And because everybody wants the promotion. So that's how you get people who have never heard of you to hear about you. And I don't even know what the audience ratings or anything for the TV show is. I don't even care. But I care who are the guests and what are they sharing on social media.
So I'm going to be a little Southern here and say, preach it, brother.
Preach. What, Southern, what are you from, Mississauga? You're from...
Actually, I lived in Mississauga.
For those of you who've never been to Canada, it's a town between Toronto and Buffalo.
There you go.
On the lake. And if you keep going down, there's this wine region just before you get to Buffalo. You'd never think that north of Buffalo is a wine region, but there's a wine region. Try the ice wine. When the grapes freeze, they make a delicious sweet wine out of it. And try the in the summer, the stands on the roadside stands selling raspberry pie. Oh my gosh. So again, I digress with Canadian content. Let's get back to helping people make more money. Well, actually, they do. Kim, I don't know what you say. So I don't, you ask the questions here, not me. But I tell people the book will increase their credibility, give them more impact, more influence, and a path and a plan for more right fit clients. And I don't say just clients anymore, because I always hear the clients from hell story. So no, we don't want those. We want them to be pre-qualified by the time they reach you. So when you tell them your price, they go, oh, that's fair. Instead of, oh my gosh, how do you get away with charging that much money? Or the other rare thing is like, oh, I thought that's all you charge? I thought you were better than that. I'm looking for somebody. I had a book agent come out from New York and to meet with me. And she says, I have a message from the universe. And I said, what's the message? She goes, quit charging so effing little. I can't sell you to people because, they see the credentials that you have this international bestseller, and then you quote their price and they go, oh, we wanted somebody better. So I doubled my prices and got more bookings. Yep. I'm the same guy. Yeah. So I am in my book. Oh, by the way, my books are my children. It's hard to say which is your favorite child. But my books are my children. And like my children, I expect them to take care of me in my old age. This is the one that's been taking care of me for a decade. How to Close a Deal Like Warren Buffett. International bestseller from McGraw-Hill. 5 languages. Now in Chinese. So you have to love that book. You have to get it out there. But the book doesn't market you. I had to parlay that book and talk about that. That book is what got me hired at Forbes.com for 7 years to write a weekly business development column. and I've got 350 on their website now. And I moved on. I've created my own publication, Agency Owner News, and that's my own news website. And it's news that they can use for agency owners to get more business, make more money, run the business better. Because I also figured out no matter how great a job I did, they were never going to make me a member of the Forbes family. I was Stephen Forbes, the publisher, once told me, he said, Henry, the difference between you and me is I did a better job at picking my parents than you did. So, yeah, he chose Malcolm Ford as his father. I chose Jack Devries, a humble dairyman from the Netherlands. Well, I think I was better for it, but not richer for it. Stephen taught me on that.
Henry, you covered so much there. And, I just want to touch in on a couple of things. And, you talk about, the book doesn't promote you. No, the book doesn't promote you, but the book can prove your expertise. So when, you talked about getting it into the right person's hands, and, I call that your audience of one. When you're writing the book, and I do a lot of teaching and training on the CREATE method, which is basically, how do you write this book the right way so that it reaches the right person and would convert them from a reader into a client? So you have to have that audience of one. You have to be thinking about that one person when you write the book. But the other thing I was thinking about, okay, this is completely back to the Mississauga thing. US, I don't think you realize how much difference there is in the exchange. So, like when you cross the border, you get a whole lot more bang for your buck. I just wanted to put that in. Come spend your money in Canada. We'll gladly take it.
Buy that ice wine and that raspberry pie up there. Go to Second City in Toronto. It's a lot cheaper with the exchange rate, the loonie to the dollar. A loonie is a dollar coin with a loon on it. And then if it's a $2 coin in Canada, you call it a doubloony. So anyway, Good night, everybody. I'll be here all week. Be sure to tip your waitress.
Okay, Henry.
You know the difference between a Canadian and a canoe? A canoe
what?
will tip. Da-dum-bum. That's a joke because there are so many people from Scotland in Toronto, so they make cheap jokes up in Canada.
Well, we've got a few minutes left, Henry, and so I want to shift gears just a little bit, and I want to talk about when you did your first book. So first of all, talk whatever your current book is, the book that you want to talk about, but then I'm going to ask you the question that I ask every single author that comes on the show.
Okay. Oh, I'm promoting this book, Marketing with a Book for Agency Owners. And I've written 20 books, and you can check me out on Amazon.com. But the first book was Self-Marketing Secrets. And back then, that was 1990. The year was 1990. The place, San Diego, California. And you didn't have print-on-demand publishing. You didn't have Author House and KDP and all these things that you have now. So you had to find a publisher. So I went through two agents. My first agent, I had a co-author, and she goes, he wants to meet us in Hollywood at a deli. And I said, does this guy wear his shirt open, have a lot of a hairy chest and gold chains? She goes, well, how'd you know? I said, it was just a guess, but he sounds right. So he was a book producer and wanted 25% of the deal, couldn't deliver. So then went to another agent in San Diego, and he probably got 25 no's before he got a yes. So our book, Self-Marketing Secrets, went to two printings. No, the first one wasn't blurred. And they sold the publishing house to another publisher. And the publisher took me out to lunch at a fancy restaurant and said, basically your book fell off the truck and became a modest business bestseller, through no marketing or help. People discovered your book. I did a publicity tour. And he said, we'd like you to do another book. And I'd made $3,000 on that book. And I said, thanks, but no, thanks for the nice lunch. Because why am I working that hard? I didn't know until I went to a program called Bestseller Publishing. And it was put on by the marketing person from Mark Victor Hansen of Chicken Soup for the Soul. And it was like a 12-step program in Las Vegas. We all just stand up, say our name, say how many copies the book sold, and say how much money we made. And then the question was, would you like to make money? And that's where I learned about quit doing these cheap $99 seminars I was doing and do weekend boot camps. And I was getting 50 people to pay me $99. And the first $2,000 weekend I did, only 3 clients signed up. And they said, and you made more money, right? I went, yeah, as a matter of fact, I made more money with 3 people than I did with 50. They go, yeah. So a lot less work. So there's all these things I learned about, and I'll go through real quick if I'm not talking too much. What I learned was put on small scale events to promote the book. Now we do them on Zoom and virtually, but I've done 100 across the country. Get on people's stages, leverage the book, and get better as a speaker. I'm now paid $5,000 to $10,000 to speak.
Nice.
I worked my way up to that. But I rather be in a room where 10 people chose to be there because they wanted to hear about books than to speak to a big group of people where I'm entertaining them for an hour. I can bring the funny. I can make people cry. I can make people feel noble. I've got those mad speaking skills. But I rather talk to people who really want to know about books and how to leverage books. Number 3 thing is get published. I talked about the LinkedIn newsletter, but I had a Forbes.com column. I've written for Inc.com. Get published. That helps bring people in. And then the rest is the usual things about networking, going to events where your target rich audience is going to be at, and get videos on YouTube, because that's how people find people these days. As many people search for a topic on YouTube as they do on Google. So you want to be there. So there's it in a nutshell.
So I'm going to ask you the question I ask every author, and maybe not your first book, but maybe, once you were kind of doing the more, well, obviously you're a publisher, but more into the self-publishing space. So the question is, what was the good, the bad, and the ugly of some of those first books of writing, editing, and publishing them?
Well, my second book, Client Seduction, I just went through a firm called Author House, and they made it very affordable, but it was a template book, and the layout was very template, and it was another cheap business book. And as I say now, the world doesn't need another one of those. So that was ugly, and being out there. And also, a book I did for a traditional publisher, I was looking to see it on my shelf, was called Painkiller Marketing. And it was about, if you figure out a client's pain and you address that, then you're attractive. And I had the scientific reasons and how to do it. The publisher's art director said, what's going to be perfect with this book is a Tylenol bottle. And we'll turn the Tylenol bottle into the book title and all that. I had secured the rights from the Edward Munch estate for the painting The Scream. For $350, I could have The Scream on the cover. I said, that's really what it's about, the pain of people being there. And they said, no, this is good. This painkiller bottle is going to work a lot better. And then the intern that they assigned to handle the Library of Congress registration looked at it and put it under analgesics marketing. Analgesic is painkillers, pharma. I had pharma executives calling me saying, this is bait and switch. This cover in this book and analgesics marketing, and there's nothing about marketing pharma in here. Like, don't blame me, man. It's the publisher. So that ugly experience, those two, I became a ghostwriter. probably into like 50 books, and everybody was frustrated when it came to publishing. So ghostwriting was a part-time job for me. I was the assistant dean for continuing education and public programs at the University of California at San Diego, Dean Devries. And I had to go in one day, and they thought I had, it was a lifetime, tenured position. And when I went to resign at the age of 56 to start my publishing company to help these independent people and business owners and agencies publish their books successfully, they thought I'd had a mental breakdown. Like, it's a 6-figure job. Everybody from the president in Berkeley to the janitor. We all love you. Like, if you need something else to do here, we'll get you this other leadership job. And I go, nope. This is it. And then I made the entrepreneur speech to my wife, who worked at the university. I said, yeah, we're getting the band back together. So you're going to resign your job and retire so we get the health benefits. And that was 10 years ago, and 150 books since then. So those two ugly events prompted the creation of Indie Books International.
Love it. Love it. Well, Henry, you and I could go on for days and days, but unfortunately we are out of time. So I would love for you to share one final thought with us today. And if you have a freebie or something you'd like to promote, now is the time.
Thanks, Kim. And Kim, I'd like to have you on my TV show if you would do it. And
I would love it.
Great. Okay, so lots of free information. If you go to Indie Books, that's INDIE Books, INTL.com for international, and / there's a learning center with free things. There's events. I put on free monthly Q&As where you can ask me anything about writing, publishing, promoting books. So that's all free. I have a free book chat. If somebody is serious, I'll just have a no cost, no selling, no kidding strategy call with them for 30 minutes and help them get clear on their goals and their assets. A lot of people have hidden assets and the roadblocks ahead, how others have gotten through those roadblocks. And that's no cost either. So my brand is generosity. You can go to the LinkedIn newsletter. You can go to the TV. We don't charge for any of this content. Heck, if you even send me an email, I'll send you a free copy of one of my books if I think it would help you. So and we all have different faiths, but one of my authors sent this from the book of Proverbs, King Solomon. One gives generously and ends up with more. Another withholds what should be given, but he comes to poverty. The generous person will prosper, and whoever refreshes others will himself be refreshed. Himself or herself, Kim. We should make that generic there. So you're a refresher. You provide a lot of good content and help a lot of people on the journey, and I salute you for that. You're doing a noble work, Kim. Keep it up.
Thank you, Henry. You too. Wow. This has been an amazing episode. And audience, normally I direct you at this point to the next episode, but I forgot to look it up because I was so excited about doing today's episode. So while I just kind of babble on here, actually, you know what? We'll just make it really simple. Audience, I'm going to send you to episode 500, The Limitless Life. If you want to hear the story about being on the plane that went down and the miracle of the Hudson, my client, Dave Sanderson, just released it this year. You can go back. If you're on YouTube, you know the routine. The thumbnail is here on the screen for you to click. If you're on your favorite podcast app, you're probably going to be going back about 10 episodes or so. I promise you it's a great episode, and you're going to learn more about how to create opportunity no matter what you're going through. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you on the very next episode. Bye now.